What's good, YouTube? This video is going to be about a huge red flag when you're on a date with a guy, when you're on the phone with a guy, a huge red flag that this man is potentially a narcissist, a huge red flag that there is no relationship health to come from dating this man. But before I start, this video is sponsored by Aura. Listen, it's the holiday season, and I know a lot of y'all been swiping away at them little credit and debit cards, putting your banking information and all of your numbers into website after website, trying to buy gifts for your loved ones. Identity thieves love the holiday season because people get reckless and desensitized to the idea of sharing their personal information. It's all fun and games until somebody buys a jet ski, opens a bank account in your name, or gets a job as you but doesn't pay the taxes. $12. That's it. $12 is all it takes to get you $1 million of coverage against identity theft. You think with all these single, successful, high-value individuals running around, more people would be doing this, especially since we live our whole lives on the internet and trust our personal information to random, strange companies that we'll never know. Save that money somewhere else and get yourself some protection. Click the link below to find out more. Now on to this topic. Now, with that said, that behavior is, that red flag that this man is not healthy and he's probably toxic, is he talks over people or you. Men who talk over people, men who don't allow people to get their opinions out, men who constantly cut you off, and they're not cutting you off out of a complete lack of awareness, but they're cutting you off because they're trying to control the conversation, and it becomes clear that they don't care about what you think, even when you try to interject. Men who cut women off generally cut a lot of people off, but men who cut people off a lot, I've not met a lot of women who have had positive experiences, non-disrespectful, non-overpowering relationships with these types of men. It says a whole lot about someone who won't let someone else talk. Okay, I've not known one person who can't have a conversation where they allow someone else to get their opinion out, who also is a good provider of health, of security, of love, of empathy, of sacrifice, of nurturing, of selflessness, of consideration, of cooperation. I've not known a person who could be a great and healthy partner who also didn't let someone else talk. Oftentimes I'm in restaurants and sometimes you hear the conversations at the other table and you can hear a woman getting talked over, or you can hear a man getting talked over and kind of shut down. And it's not obvious. It's not like, shut up, I'm talking. It's just like, yeah, fuck what you talking about. Listen, this is what I'm saying. Over and over and over in as many different ways as possible. That's the messaging that comes across when a conversation is being had. I don't really care about what you're saying. I'm talking. Yeah, but let me finish. Yeah, but let me finish. Yeah, but let me finish. And they finish 50 damn times. And they just have a new point every time that person opens up their mouth. The conversation monopolizer, right? The aggressive conversation monopolizer cannot be trusted to give a healthy relationship. Now, I will say this. Oftentimes, men on dates talk about themselves a lot, and they never really give a woman a time or a space to talk. And so the whole conversation is them talking about themselves, and it feels like that's what they're doing, but it's actually out of nervousness and they're trying to qualify themselves. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about when you've sat passively by while a man talked about himself for an hour. So often women think that is a display of a big ego in a man, just not caring or being a narcissist and up his own ass, when really he's begging you to accept him. He's begging you to see his value. That's why he's talking about himself. He's qualifying himself. Listen to what he's saying. He's telling you how great he is, how great his job is, how great his car is, how great his dreams are, how great his morals and beliefs are, his values. He's telling you how great he is because he's hoping you see him as valuable enough to date again. Oftentimes, the guy who talks his ass off on the first date and never gives you an opportunity to talk doesn't have a whole lot to say on the second date, and it's a little bit awkward because you've already established a dynamic where he runs his mouth, right? But he's calm now because he feels like, okay, she must accept me. I'm on the second date. Men do that out of nervousness. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're trying to have a conversation with a guy and he cuts you off. He doesn't let you finish a thought, a sentence. As soon as you get to hey, he cutting you off. No. What I'm saying is this. He's talking to you as if you're disagreeing with him. He's talking to you as if you're in some kind of argument and y'all not even arguing. Y'all just talking about some regular stuff, or his job or sports or life or politics. A person who does not let you talk is almost incapable of being a healthy partner. because that doesn't just fall in the line of conversation. That same person might not let you pick a restaurant or a movie. Same person might not let you make a decision in the household. That same person thinks themselves to be above you no matter what the scenario is. If they can't stand to hear your thoughts and ideas, how are they ever going to respect your decisions or propensity to make one? Your opinions. How are your opinions ever going to matter? How are your feelings ever going to matter more than their feelings if your words don't matter now? Too often y'all give these guys who run their mouth and over talk you a second date because you feel like he's an alpha. You feel like he's a leader and he's just a dickhead who's self-obsessed. And then you're like, I keep attracting the same type of guys. No, you're attracted to the same type of guy. Anytime a man has a conversation where he's aggressive and overbearing, you shouldn't have a second date with that guy. You should let him have that. Let him go somewhere else and give that rulership to somebody else. He's telegraphing his inability for a relationship balance of power. There's no balance with him. He's showing you the power dynamic right now, why he's talking over you, or why he's dismissing everything you say and then inserting what his opinion is and making the assumption that your opinions are less valid no matter what you say. Every time you open your mouth, he either disagrees or corrects you or criticizes it and then starts his own point. You're on the first date like, damn, it's hard to talk to this guy. Oh, he's so alpha. He's so alpha. No, he's a dick. And he's going to be a dick for the rest of the relationship. He's not capable of being anything else. I've never known a woman who had a great relationship with a guy who talks over them. It just gets worse and worse and worse. And it turns into shut the F up, I'm talking. Every time they talk. No, you shut up, I'm talking. That's what that turns into. It turns into aggression. It turns into abuse and violence ultimately sometimes. And I'm not saying every guy who talks over a woman or talks over people is abusive and violent, but I'm saying more often than not, if you look at a guy who's abusive and violent to his woman and ultra aggressive, it didn't just start with random ultra aggression. It started in conversation where she was being railroaded and ran over. That was the first sign that shit was going wrong. Sometimes we think we're just dealing with a dominant and assertive personality, but that lack of awareness of other people's experience, what they need, what they might want out of a conversation, that lack of care that they're having an enjoyable experience is ultimately his unchecked and untethered selfishness. So I know it sounds dumb. A guy just gives you a bad conversation. You never talk to him again, but if it's not about a bad conversation, it's about him trying to establish power through conversation. That's generally just a symptom of his obsession with power and dominance and control in a relationship. So anyway, that's all I got for now. If you need coaching, click the link below. If you want me to evaluate your dating profile to see how you come off to guys, to see why you don't get the DMs you're looking for, or to see why you keep attracting the same type of guy, or to see what type of vibe you give off, I also offer that on my website. Follow me at KFA24 on Instagram. I'll get with y'all later.